What's up, guys? Warnick Revolution here. Today is the 75th anniversary of D-Day. It's June 6th of 1944. That's when D-Day happened. I just wanted to show you guys this today, the British edition of Yank magazine. Made by the Army, for the Army, as it says right here, by the men, for the men in service. This is a edition from July 30th, 1944, a month after that happened. This is the only Yank magazine that I have that's close to the D-Day date, and there is some articles in here having to do with Normandy. So, just flip this open. Just kind of wanted to show like them inside France. That guy looks like he's dead, but I don't know. Yeah, it's an SS guy. He's dead on the ground. Excuse me for strong imagery, I guess. And I'll put it places where you can read the captions by the pictures. And then this part of the article, if you want to read it. Just pause the video. Some good stories in here. But anyways, guys, a few things, captions below pictures I wanted to point out of just what these guys went through, and these captions on these pictures within this magazine that are very interesting, related to the time. I thought I would show just because of today and its significance. And if you guys want me to do a different video of this, maybe so you can read stuff better, but here's a caption on D-Day. So here's a story on Normandy that I should probably show a little bit. Normandy, gun number 3 of D Battery, was a slim, graceful piece of 90mm rapid-firing anti-aircraft mechanism with an electrical brain so keen on exacting that the men and her crew respectfully called her Ike after the supreme commander. She was a queen among artillery weapons and looked at her 90mm shells fired at planes in the air and against tanks, pillboxes, or gun emplacements on the ground with crushing authority. Yet there was something delicate and feminine about her, unlike the sturdy, sweating, muddy 105 and 155mm workhorses at the front. There was a genuine affection between Ike and her crew, They had been together for a long time. Up here, just stand behind the front, and the men never left her night and day, and during their waking hours spent the most of their time ministering to Ike with ramrod, boar brush, and some high-octane gasoline. They had managed to swipe somehow. Ike, on her part, managed returned small favors to the men, such as supplying 110 volts of electricity for the radio so it could be heard during the long, lonely hours of the night. Ike and her crew came ashore on D+3, so they missed out on the 24 hours of genuine glory which came to the Ack men of D-Day down on the bloody 1st Division beach, but they all took justifiable pride in the same. On D-Day, 2 battalions of light Ack 40mm Bofors guns and 50 calibers single multi-machine guns came right in the infantry, but they set up on the beach to fend off the Luftwaffe. But no Luftwaffe came that day. Instead, the German 20mm guns in pillboxes on the high ground just behind the beach played havoc on our landing craft, whipping shells into the boats the moment the ramps were lowered. So the 40mm Ack depressed to 0 and went to work on the pillboxes like field artillery. Half of each of the light Ack battalions were wiped out, but after a long duel in pillboxes were wiped out too. Fewer boys died after that, working their way to the beach. You guys can read the rest, but it's a very interesting story with some great imagery. But I'll just hold it here for a second. You guys can pause it and read. I don't know. That's just a really good article in the events of D-Day. Some captions on different photographs that you could pause and read if you'd like. And I just want to say below this video I'm going to have a link to a video that Ben Shapiro put out. Ben Shapiro, if you don't know, is a conservative podcast speaker. But it's really interesting because he interviews people that were there that day, or that for a length of time. They were on the beaches. There was a guy that's a medic. There was a parachuter guy. And I'm not sure which the other one was. But this is this is a weird article. The Army is doing... What's the Army doing to help state absentee voting? Random article in here. Has nothing to do with war. But we got some more captions under photos. Very cool photos in here. not going to show all this, guys, but I just wanted to mention I was going to put a link below this video on some guys' true stories from guys that actually fought in the field. And it's a very nice video, and it kind of explains better than things I'm trying to explain in this this Yank magazine. But there's a pinup girl in each one of these magazines, so I just thought I would show that. More captions under photos. If I read everything in here, this video would be extremely long. So it's a plane that just came out, I guess, and stuff going on in Florida. Some cartoons. GI Bill of Rights. It's kind of important. What else we got here? There's always a sports section. Part of this newspaper, what was going on during the time, just to give those guys some, you know, just take them away from the war a little bit, give them something else to think about. Like, this is the Chicago during the wartime. It's an article on that. Talk with Adam Nimtz, I think that's his name. Pearl Harbor, Hawaii. It's like a whole article probably on that. But anyways, and then there's also cartoons in the back, made by Corporal Ralph Newman, and there's other people, Sergeant Charles Peterson, Private, I think that's Private, PFC, whatever PFC means, Joseph Kramer. It's just interesting, different men would make things like that. So I thought I would just, you know, have a interesting video the month after the D-Day or the invasion of Normandy and what was happening on after that. Something from my collection that I thought I would show you guys today. But remember, there's that link in the description I'm going to put where you can get the testimonials, I guess, or whatever you want to call it. This is wartime stories from actual wartime heroes that were on the beaches of Normandy and explaining what they saw and everything. It's kind of, it's rather moving, I guess, and it's really interesting to get their kind of perspective during all of this. I mean, there's movies that were done on this and everything like that, but the real stories from the guys that were actually there is very, very moving, and I very much recommend it. And I hope you just like what I put here and what I'm showing for this 75th anniversary of D-Day. And yeah, thanks guys. Like the video if you like it, and subscribe if you're new. See you guys in another video. Peace.